Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 EAST-COMM Awards ceremony presented by Sidearm Sports. I'm John Holtz, Director of Athletic Communication at Slippery Rock University, and for at least a few more hours, the past president of this terrific organization. One of the privileges I've had in my role as past president for 2 years now, thanks to the pandemic, is getting to oversee our 2020 and 2021 awards ceremonies. Obviously, tonight's a little different than we all hoped it would be. We wish we were together in person at our signature event, the annual banquet during our annual workshop. But like so many of you on your campuses over the last 18 months, we're making the best of a difficult situation and we're heading to the virtual platform. I want to thank all of our 2021 award winners for their understanding of the situation and for their assistance in helping us put together tonight's video presentation. Tonight's exciting because we get to honor our first class of award winners under the new name of our organization, the Eastern Athletic Communications Association. And it's exciting because it brings an end to our 2021 virtual workshop. We hope you'll join our award winners this evening after the presentation at 8:30 p.m. as we host a live virtual reception on Zoom to honor their accomplishments. For more information, visit the website at eastcomm.com. Before we jump into our awards presentations this evening, we'd like to welcome Jeff Rubin, CEO of our presenting sponsor this evening, Sidearm Sports, to say a few words.
Gosh, I wish I was with all of you right now. We all know budgets were tight this year, but it was an easy and emphatic yes when Bill emailed me and asked if Sidearm could sponsor this awards dinner. In 2002, I attended my first ECAC SIDA, EAST-COMM workshop. At that point, Sidearm was only working with a couple of schools, and I had a lot to learn about the industry. 20 some odd years later, I still have a lot to learn about this industry. I do know that all of us at Sidearm, especially myself, is eager and excited to see all of you in person next year. Congratulations to John, Scott, Greg, Connor, Chris, Steve, and my friend Pete Moore. I read all your impressive interviews on eastcomm.com and completely understand why and how you were all chosen for these prestigious awards. Greg, I love all that you do. Bennett Strong. Pete, I am eternally grateful for your support and friendship over the years. To all my friends at EAST-COMM, thank you and enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you to Jeff and your team at Sidearm for all that you've done and continue to do for our terrific organization, from hosting our website to sponsoring events like this during our annual workshop. We couldn't do it without you. Without further ado, we'll jump into the awards presentations this evening. Each of our 2021 award winners have identified someone to introduce them tonight. Those introduction videos will be played, followed by the acceptance speeches from our award winners. First, to introduce the Bill Esposito Memorial Award that is presented to a graduating senior that plans to pursue a career in athletic communications, please welcome Clint Often from Mary Washington and Ben Stockwell from the Northeast 10 Conference.
I'm Ben Stockwell, and it's my honor to introduce this year's Bill Esposito Award winner, Connor Martin, alongside Clint Often. I first met Connor the summer after his freshman year at Mary Washington. His father worked at Assumption. He was looking for a summer job within our athletic department. My boss at the time wisely suggested he would be an asset for me as my graduate assistants had left for the summer. He was so right. Connor took on all the tasks that I asked of him with enthusiasm, curiosity, and most importantly, attention to detail, even the mundane ones. I realized he could do a lot and was willing to do even more than I asked of him. So we started to explore other things like creating graphics, writing biographies, and even writing press releases. I was so impressed at the work he churned out. And I also really enjoyed sharing my office with him, just chatting about whatever was going on in the sports world and just kind of having someone else to bounce ideas off of and help planning for the fall. He came back the following summer to work in our office, and I was thrilled. However, our reunion was short-lived as I took on a position at the Northeast 10 Conference. Connor stepped up in my absence to oversee the athletic communications office during the hiring process for my position. I was so proud of the way he handled what could have been a really tough situation and continued to do great work, even though there was no one else to really supervise him on a day-to-day basis within athletic communications. It's been awesome to watch Connor develop as a professional, and I feel fortunate to call him a friend as well.
Well, I can mirror those statements and amplify them a little bit. Connor, congratulations. Well deserved, my man. He kind of came in here as a freshman, kind of the same situation. The more I tested him with, the better he did. And his skill set was so diverse, and he always had such a great attitude about everything. And here at Mary Washington, as his years went along, he started being a manager for the volleyball team as well. So he left here with, great experience. Obviously, have him coming in as a freshman and was a tremendous work study student. But then by the time, before COVID hit, by his junior year, I could trust him to run games like he was a full-time assistant. And that's what I considered him to be for several years here at Mary Washington. So, again, it's just a fantastic award and a great organization. And, I think it's really special that Connor's being recognized because he's a great young man, as we both said. And, I know great things are in the future for him as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Connor Martin, and I recently graduated from the University of Mary Washington. First and foremost, I would like to say how honored I am to have been nominated, let alone win, the Bill Esposito Award from EAST-COMM. My path to athletic communications began my freshman year at Mary Washington. In the fall semester, I saw a job posted on the athletics website looking for part-time help in the athletic department to help run the scoreboard or videotape games. I applied and got the job. Therefore, this started my 3 years of working at Mary Washington, and specifically in the sports information department. By the end of my sophomore year, I was able to start working games by myself. And while the first softball game was not the smoothest first one, but I got through it, and later games became much easier and easier, and I was given more and more responsibilities. Director of Athletic Communications, Clint Often, was one of my first mentors, and without him, I would not be where I am today. He showed me the process of becoming an SID, while also sharing his many stories about his time working in minor league baseball, all his autographs he collects, and his stories with MLB All-Star Paul Bird. I could not be more thankful and grateful for everything that Clint has done for me and showed me through the way. During summers at home, I was fortunate enough to work in the Assumption University athletics office. In my first summer, I learned the ropes from another one of my mentors, Ben Stockwell. He showed me how to use Adobe Photoshop and InDesign and create graphics for social media with these skills that I still carry with me to this day. Ben really took me under his wing and showed me how to be a great SID. In my second summer, Ben had moved on to the NE10 position that he has now, and I was asked to serve as interim SID, and this really launched my passion for athletic communications. I helped organize the annual golf tournament, create promotional materials for the upcoming fall season, and assisted in the interview process for several coaching positions and helped with the transition to the new SID, Lauren Nealon, who has also helped me learn a lot more about being an SID with helping at Assumption University this past spring. A piece of advice for students that I have that are looking for a job while in college: take the chance to work in the athletics department or athletic communications. It might not be one of the highest paying fields, but it definitely is one of the most rewarding. The ability to tell other people's amazing stories and share your school pride with all the world is what it's all about. Take that chance and apply for the job in college athletics, or reach out to the SID to see if you can work, because you won't regret it. Trust me, I haven't. Interning at these different schools has shown me that this is what I want to do going forward as a career, and I'm excited for the next step. Finally, before I wrap this up, there are just a few people I want to thank. First and foremost, thank you to Mom and Dad for encouraging me to be the best that I can be and always supporting me. Thank you to my siblings, Ryan and Delaney, for being the best that any brother can have and for also supporting me as well. To my friends, thank you for supporting me and pushing me to be the best, and always willing to listen to my fun and crazy work stories, as many as there are. To Clint Often and the entire UMW athletics department for taking a chance on a freshman to work in the sports information department and showing him that college athletics is fun to work in. To Ben Stockwell, Becky, Christine, and Lauren, and the rest of the Assumption University athletics department for hiring me during the summers and giving me the chance to gain even more knowledge about sports information and college athletics as a whole. Thank you for allowing me to call Assumption home and allowing me to grow and give me an opportunity to showcase my skills. I'll be forever grateful to both universities giving me the start to working in the college athletics world. It was a pleasure to work at both schools, and I am very excited for my next step at Smith College. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations to Connor, and best wishes as he begins the next step in his young professional career. Our next award is the Monahan and Wallace Media Award, presented annually to members of the media that go above and beyond in their coverage of collegiate athletics on the East Coast. To introduce the 2021 award winners, please welcome Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame inductees and legendary head coaches Barbara Stevens and Herb McGee.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Steve Zerdalian, the 2021 recipient of the Monahan and Wallace Media Award for outstanding coverage of Eastern Intercollegiate Athletics. Steve's illustrious career as a writer and broadcaster spans 3+ decades. His passion for basketball, and particularly women's basketball, began as an undergrad at Stonehill College, as he followed and reported on the success of Stonehill's great teams of the late 80s and 90s, coached by the legendary Paula Sullivan. From those early years until now, Steve has accumulated quite the resume. In my opinion, there is no one who has done more for Division II East Region women's basketball than Steve Zerdalian. In the early 90s, Steve provided daily email reports of our region's games to coaches, SIDs, and athletic administrators. I was always looking forward to receiving those reports as they provided the most up-to-date information on what was happening in the region. In 2014, along with Chris Granozio, Steve created the D2 East Hoops website, the go-to site for all things Division II basketball in the region, providing daily updates on scores and highlights, league standings, and feature stories throughout the basketball season. Not only has Steve reported on East Region women's basketball, but he has been covering the NCAA Division II women's basketball tournament for many years. He is the authority for D2 women's hoops. Over the last 20 years, Steve has worked extensively in the broadcast medium, radio, TV, and webcasts. He has covered Northeast 10 basketball, and for a number of years has broadcasted Bentley University men's and women's basketball games. How ironic that a Stonehill grad is the voice of the Bentley Falcons. I have always been impressed with his detailed preparation, thoroughness, and professionalism. The man does his homework. The fact that he did all of this while maintaining a full-time job is truly remarkable. His love of the game and his commitment to our sport is unrivaled. He has given so much to Division II women's basketball and has helped our coaches in so many ways. A humble man, he would be the last to tell you about his many accomplishments. On a personal note, thank you, Steve, for your friendship and support throughout my Bentley career. I'm so happy for you, my friend. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition and honor.
This is a real pleasure for me to be here tonight. I have known the recipient of this award for over 20 years. His weekly reports are very informative and show a real knowledge of the game. It has been a huge help to me over the years, and I look forward every week, to pick up his reports on Northeast Division II basketball. His latest top 75, where he categorized all the players from their positions as the top guys that he's watched and witnessed over the years, showed a lot of insight, and I was completely in agreement with every one of them. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce the winner of the Monahan and Wallace Media Award to Mr. Chris Granozio, my good friend.
Hi everybody, I'm Steve Zerdalian. This is Chris Granozio, and we are the two guys that put together the D2 East Hoops website. We'd like to thank everybody at EAST-COMM for the getting this Monahan and Wallace Media Award. It's a tremendous honor for us. And looking at the list of recipients before us, we're really humbled to be on it. We'd like to extend our congratulations to all the award winners tonight, and also to our presenters this evening, to Hall of Famers and Herb McGee and Barbara Stevens.
Yeah, and this all began pretty much as a way for us to connect all the people in the Division II arena to know what was happening way back in the day before the internet took hold. We started out with email blasts. I started in 1999. Steve picked it up right after that. But our roots actually go before that. Steve and I have been covering college basketball at the D2 level since the 80s. When I was a freshman at Lemoyne College in '82, I just went down and saw one of the first games of the season and got hooked. And Steve's been a big fan ever since. And he actually had an actual publication called Swish, which covered all of New England basketball, men's and women's. So we've just been fans, and we wanted to connect all the different coaches, fan bases to all the different leagues. And all of a sudden, we decided, with some prompting of our friends and some colleagues, let's put it on the web. And we kind of went into the 21st century in 2013, 2014. And that's we've been on the internet ever since. And we love bringing our passion for college basketball to all of you.
And so for the folks who aren't familiar with D2 East Hoops, we have all the scores, standings, recaps, schedules, everything to cover the whole region in Division II for men's and women's basketball. And really for Chris and I, it's a passion play because this connects the community of all the people who put in so much and give so much of themselves to the game. And it's our pleasure to highlight them and to recognize them for all the great stuff that they do and for us to get this award. It's really meaningful and we do appreciate it. So thanks everybody and have a great night.
Humble thanks.
Congratulations to Chris and Steve on a well-deserved honor, and thank you to Barbara and Herb for those introductions. Our next award presentation this evening is the 2021 Bob Kenworthy Award, which is presented at the discretion of the Executive Board to a person for contributions to the organization and mission of EAST-COMM. Here to introduce our 2021 award winner is, well, me. Oh hey, thanks to this evening's Kenworthy Award winner for asking me to do this introduction this evening. You're stuck listening to me for a few more minutes tonight. When I think about the Kenworthy Award, I remember back to my first workshops in the mid-2000s when the award still carried the moniker the Bob Kenworthy Good Person Award. I used to talk with my mentor and Hall of Fame SID Steve McCluskey, who you'll all get the privilege to hear from later tonight, about the type of person that won the Kenworthy Award and why it was named after Bob Kenworthy to begin with. The first word that came up in those conversations was service. Not only service to our great organization, but service to others. The people that win this award are selfless, caring, and consistently putting others above themselves, whether that be on their campuses, in their communities, or with this organization. Tonight's honoree, Greg Pellegrino, exemplifies those qualities. I first met Greg when I was a 17-year-old freshman in the fall of 2002 at Mansfield University. Greg and what would become his future wife, Mary, were two of the first people I met at Mansfield, as they both lived on my floor, the first floor of Hemlock Hall. While most of his upperclassmen friends wouldn't believe a word of this, Greg was one of the most mature people on that floor and was a calming influence to a young guy that had no idea where his life was headed. After Greg graduated and I began working for Steve McCluskey in the Sports Information Office, he told me stories of how good Greg was. He told me about how he took Greg to the ECAC SIDA workshop, and that solidified his choice to do this for a career. And then he took me on the same path, and lo and behold, the same thing happened. Since then, I've seen Greg develop into a terrific SID, with stops at Skidmore and the Northeast 10 Conference before settling in at Holy Family for the last decade. But I don't really want to talk about his SID skills. I want to talk more about the man I've seen Greg become, because to me, that's way more important than what he does for work. He married his college sweetheart, Mary, and the two of them have been together through some of the toughest, most challenging times a young family can endure. But when faced with the adversity presented by having to raise a medically complex child, Greg and Mary haven't caved under that pressure. They've taken their experiences and tried to find the good, and perhaps more impressively, they've tried to share that good. They created a foundation, Bennett Strong, named after their awesome son, Bennett, with the goal of helping other families that are going through similar situations. Through the foundation, they're able to engage the community in Eastern Pennsylvania and share their experiences to help a significant number of families going through the things they experienced. I had a terrific conversation with Greg in Florida when we were on our spring break trips with our softball teams a little over 2 years ago, about the challenges he faced and how much he's grown from those challenges. It is so very fitting to me to be awarding him with this honor just a few days after Father's Day, because he told me that being Bennett's father is the best thing that's ever happened to him. If you're looking for someone who exemplifies the idea of being a good person, it's hard to look beyond Greg and his wife, Mary. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce this year's Kenworthy Award winner and my really good friend, Greg Pellegrino from Holy Family University.
Thank you, John, for that great introduction, which I'm guessing was great since we're virtual, but I'm fully confident you blew it out of the park. In all seriousness, thank you truly for introducing me this evening. We've known each other a very long time since our Mansfield days, living on first floor Hemlock and both having the privilege to work with Steve McCluskey in the SID office. And look at us now, both running our own department at two great universities. And before I get into things, I'd like to congratulate the other award winners this evening. We have a really amazing group of recipients this year, and I'm honored to be part of this year's awards class. When John notified me about being this year's recipient of the Bob Kenworthy Award, I was really surprised, and it didn't really hit me until after the fact. To be recognized by your fellow colleagues on a national level for work you do in the profession and in the community is very special. Just look at the list of the previous recipients of the Kenworthy Award. It's a who's who among really great people in our profession, and to be part of that club is very humbling. So thank you, EAST-COMM Board, for selecting me. I'm truly honored and appreciate you all. And then it set in that I have to give a speech. And for anyone that knows, usually it's my wife and co-founder of Bennett Strong, Mary, that is the one that gives the speeches. She has a natural talent, and there is a reason she is the face of the foundation. And is anyone shocked, it's the sports information professional handling all the behind-the-scenes aspects. Our foundation, though, wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for her dedication and fortitude to help babies and their families in the NICU. Thank you, Mary, for everything that you do for Bennett Strong, as well as putting up with the lifestyle of a sports information director. I love you dearly and couldn't imagine doing any of this without you. Bennett is very fortunate to have you as his mom. Mary and I established the foundation in June of 2017 as a way for us to give back after all the support we received from our NICU journey and then cancer journey with Bennett. It was early in Bennett's cancer treatment that we realized families in the NICU didn't have the same support from outside organizations like we had access to on the oncology unit. For instance, access to homemade catered meals a few times a week, a room designed for family meals and relaxation, easy access to donated pajamas and other comfort items, financial assistance for medical bills, and access to items that were essential to our own self-care were available on a regular basis through a variety of pediatric cancer organizations. While the staff and experience of being in the NICU certainly helped prepare us for managing cancer treatment, the community has an opportunity to better support NICU families. We also realized that while Bennett was receiving cancer treatment, he was still considered medically complex. We had to learn how to advocate for him and realize we weren't the only families in this situation, and we should make it easier for families after us who begin their journeys in the NICU. Fast forward 4 years and we are already in the planning stages of our 5th annual fundraising gala, which will be held on February 26, 2022 at the Warrington in Warrington, Pennsylvania. Our annual gala is the biggest event of the year for us and is designed to help raise funds for the Foundation's NICU Parent Survival Kits. The kit currently includes pens and a journal, which parents can utilize in a variety of ways. They could jot down medications, names of doctors, and information about the often confusing diagnosis. Parents can also keep track of special milestones and upcoming events in their child's journey. Many parents have also used the journals to participate in meaningful therapeutic journaling. The psychologists on the unit support the use of the journals, and the social work team ensures every parent receives one upon admission. The kits also include helping hearts. These flannel cotton hearts are provided to help with bonding between baby and family members, breast milk production for mom, and positive sensory input for babies. We are really excited to announce a new initiative that will not only expand our survival kits, but provide additional support to parents and families in a brand new way for the hospital we support. It's a dream Mary has had for years, and while we are in the very early planning stages, we hope to make the big announcement at our gala in February. Here are some great ways to get involved in some awesome things that our foundation is doing. 1, come to our gala. Tickets will be on sale later this summer. We are looking for tables of super fun people who want to party the night away, auction for amazing prizes, and celebrate the patients and families we are supporting. You can bring a friend, book an entire table, or participate in our online auction. We are also currently looking for business sponsors who are willing to partner with us to help make the night extra special. Come to our Phillies fundraiser. We will have a block of tickets for the Philadelphia Phillies game on August 29th versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tickets are $30 and a portion of the sales will be donated to the foundation. We'll be hosting an open tailgate prior to the game for anyone that buys tickets through the fundraiser link. Sow some hearts. We are always in need of helping hearts for our babies and parents. They are in huge demand and we have a shortage. The pandemic has redirected a lot of resources to sewing masks, so we're hoping to get back on track for our families. The project is great for any Girl or Boy Scout groups learning to sew, church groups, friends, grandparents, or anyone that has a sewing machine. For the pattern and more details, please email us at bennettstrongfoundation@gmail.com. And finally, follow us on social media. Our website is bennettstrong.org. We're also on Twitter at bennettstrong12 and on Facebook and Instagram at Bennett Strong Foundation. Now that my personal PSA is done for the foundation, another key aspect to our foundation is it wouldn't exist without its namesake Bennett. Without Bennett, none of this is possible. Everything Mary and I have accomplished with the foundation wouldn't be possible without him. He's our inspiration on why we do what we do with the foundation. He's the hope we could offer to other families that are in the same situation we were in. Every journey is different and every journey has different outcomes, but a slight chance of hope keeps you going, and that's what we are doing with our foundation, providing families hope. I never imagined having a child that would spend 7.5 months in the NICU, endure hundreds of tests and blood samples, have 5 surgeries prior to his first birthday, and then go through cancer treatment prior to the age of 3. He has gone through a lot in his young life and has prevailed. I'm proud to be the father of a very special little man, and though he still faces a number of challenges, I'm confident he will overcome them just like he did as a micro preemie and like he did beating cancer. Finally, I'd like to thank the student athletes and staff at Holy Family. The student athletes even volunteer to work our gala each year and has been an ongoing community service project through SAC. They supported Mary, Bennett, and I from the very beginning. We are forever grateful for their love and support all these years. And thank you again, EAST-COMM. I appreciate everything this organization does for our profession. I'm looking forward to thanking everyone in person when we finally get to meet up at the convention next summer. And before I sign off, everyone enjoy your summer. Take the opportunity to get refreshed mentally and physically for the 2021-22 academic year. It'll be here before you know it, so take full advantage of the time off. Thanks again, and I hope everyone has a great...
Congratulations to Greg, and thanks to Greg, Mary, and Bennett for their charitable efforts in being exceptional representatives of our organization. At this point, we move to our marquee award, the Irving T. Marsh Award. The Marsh Award is presented to 1 or 2 individuals annually that have exhibited excellence in the field of athletic communications. To introduce our first winner, please welcome Matt Day, Associate Athletic Director at York College.
Good evening. A couple of months ago, I received an email from Greg Royce at Stevenson University asking me to write a letter of recommendation for Scott Geis's nomination for the Irving T. Marsh Award, with the explanation that this award is given annually to an athletics communication or sports information professional who exhibits excellence in the field. I couldn't think of a more deserving individual than Scott. Scott has been one of the staples here in our department at York College, as he has led the athletics communication office for nearly 26 years. And I've had the privilege of knowing Scott for many of those years, first as a York College student athlete and now as a colleague and friend. Since starting at York College in 1995, Scott has provided steadfast coverage for Spartan athletics as he works tirelessly to help contribute to the betterment of our student athletes and our coaches. For the first 12 years, Scott was a one-person staff, with the exception of a couple of student workers, of which I was fortunate to be one of. That changed in 2007 when he was able to hire a part-time assistant. This position remained part-time for the next 14 years until recently when it was elevated to a full-time position. I give this history because it demonstrates Scott's work and dedication to the student athletes, the field of communications, and York College. As many of you know, the field has changed tremendously over the last decade. Video and social media, recruiting assistants, video and social media, game coverage. Did I mention video and social media? With most, if not all of these responsibilities falling on the shoulders of the Athletics Communications Office. As this workload increased over the years, Scott continued to do his best to contribute to a quality York College student-athlete experience, even when his staff wasn't increasing. On top of this, Scott has not only been faithful and committed to covering the Spartans, but has also been a mentor to many students who have entered the field of athletics communications. As our sport management program here at York has continued to grow, Scott continues to offer his time to supervise students and equip them with the tools to enter the field. He also regularly speaks in classes to talk about the industry and the changes that are taking place. This is just another example of his dedication to York College, our students, and the profession. Congratulations, Scott, on a well-deserved.
Thank you, Matt, for that introduction. I think he's one of the few people who have had the distinct pleasure of being a student athlete, a student worker, and then working our department as our Associate Director of Athletics. His friendship has been very valuable and appreciated by me during his time as a Spartan. I would like to start out my speech tonight by congratulating my fellow 2021 award winners, Connor, Steve, Chris, Greg, John, and Pete. I am honored to be recognized along with such an impressive group of people. Really not quite sure I belong, but I appreciate it. Greg, I want to single you out for what you and your wife have done with your son, Bennett. Any of us with children understand the day-to-day challenges of raising our kids. However, the challenges you and Mary have faced head-on remind us of how blessed we are, even when things don't feel like they're going right. I want to start out with a memory of a workshop, one of my first workshops in Avalon, New Jersey. My lasting memory is of that with the town hall with 2020 Bob Kenworthy Award winner Bob Beretta. I was sitting in the town hall and just thinking to myself, wow, I am not even close to being on the level of so many great athletic communicators. What in the world am I doing here? However, as I listened to Bob talk and absorbed what he was saying, I was so motivated to be better. I really changed the way how I approach my job with the mindset of growing and being better. And it gave me the confidence to know that I can do my job at a high level. I was a little bit of a latecomer when it came to attending workshops, but I'm so very glad I got involved in this wonderful organization. There are even days that when I face a challenging situation, I think back to that town hall and often say to myself, what would Bob do in this situation? ECAC, SIDA, now EAST-COMM, has provided me with so much during my tenure at York. It has given me relationships and friends that I will cherish. It has given me a support network that is invaluable. So many times during the year, I know I can pick up my phone and shoot a text to so many different people who I've come to know and love through this wonderful organization. It is truly a gift of which I am so very thankful. I have been fortunate enough to be able to serve on the board and be a tiny part of a great success of this great, wonderful organization. This has become a family for which I am blessed to be a part of. I cannot wait to get back together in person next June in Maryland. When I look back on my time at York, I can't believe that I've just finished my 26th year as a Spartan. I want to take the time to thank my original boss, Dave Salter, who gave this very young, very raw, and fresh Bowling Green graduate the opportunity to build an athletic communication shop from the ground up. I started my job on July 31st, 1995, and I remember that date so vividly because it was my dad's birthday. Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. It was just all so new to me, and I got a great education at Bowling Green, but I was never really quite ready for what the job had to offer. My first office was the old York College TV studio in the basement of Wolf Gym. They had just built a brand new communications office or building on campus, and the old studio was now empty, and that's where I got housed for the first year of my tenure. I actually bounced around to a lot of offices in that old Wolf Gymnasium, until we moved over to Grumbacher and we have a beautiful new building here. That old control room was dark. Wasn't exactly what I had envisioned when I was in college and applying for jobs. The funny thing is I became the longest tenured SID in school history on my 6-month anniversary. The early years were tough, long hours, low pay, doing things on my own. That was the standard. That made things tough on the people who loved me. As you have heard from other award winners, the focus of doing the job at a high level can cause us to miss personal things in our lives. To any young athletic communications professionals who are watching this, please make sure you take time to dedicate to your personal life. This job is so overwhelming at times. Please make sure that you should step away and do something for yourself and for your family. The job will always be there. I started down this path as a sophomore in high school. I realized early on that my athletic skills were not taking me any further than high school. However, my dad had a coworker whose son had graduated from Bowling Green with this new sport management degree. He was actually working for the PGA Tour, which I thought sounded like the coolest thing in the world. I knew from that moment on I could mesh my love of sports along with my love of writing and telling stories. It was a decision that I am so very glad I made so many years ago. I have been incredibly blessed to be a Spartan for the last 26 years. The success on the courts and fields of play have made the years go by quickly. The best part of my job is getting to watch our student athletes and coaches strive for excellence. There have been numerous highlights, wins, and championships. However, what I will cherish more than anything else is the relationships I've been able to form with so many student athletes, coaches, and supporters of the Spartans. Ultimately, this is a relationship business. I believe that our student athletes' memories of stats or games or videos will fade. What they will remember is how they felt during their time at our institutions. I am a huge believer in that relationships that we build with our kids will play a role in how they view their time as the Spartans and their time on campus. Please take the time to get to know your kids. I understand this can be difficult. We have over 469 student athletes, and it can be challenging to get to know each one of them individually. However, make the attempt. It's incredibly rewarding to work closely with student athletes who are motivated, talented, and determined to leave a place better than what they found it. I want to take time to thank my work family. I am very, very blessed to work in a place where culture is outstanding. We have a department that pulls in the same direction. Our administration and coaching staff have created an inclusive environment that enables our student athletes with all the tools they need for success. The culture is very understanding of what we do in athletic communications. The respect and consideration given our efforts in athletic communications is appreciated, and I understand that's not as common as it should be in other places. Being a part of a great culture brings a level of responsibility for us to bring our best, not only for our department, but most importantly for our student athletes. The success of our programs isn't an accident, and I'm so proud to be a part of something so special. I'm also proud to be part of this industry. I'm proud to be a part of a group of people who have had to be adaptable, fluid, and willing to make changes. These last 2 decades have seen dramatic changes in how we get our job done. I get the opportunity each semester to talk to introductory sport management classes at York. I regale them with stories of fax machines and having to actually call somebody on the telephone and not having a website, not even having an email address. And that was the reality of when I started at York. That's how we did things. Fax machines, the broadcast fax after results was always a fun one. And obviously with social media and websites and the immediacy to have things now has dramatically changed our job. Responsibilities have gotten added. Expectations continue to rise. And we are forced to continue to add things to a plate that's already very full. It's a lot. It's challenging and it's certainly not fair. However, I don't think any of us are in the profession to get rich, at least financially. What we're in it for is others. The betterment of our student athlete experience and the ability to tell their special stories. That is the reason most of us get involved in this profession in the first place. I want to thank all of my assistants and student workers over the years. I always say that I want to surround myself with great people. That is certainly the case with so many that I've worked with over the years. Brent, Becky, Zach, and Derek, you have all brought unique talents to the office. I am better for having worked with you, and our kids are better for having you each be a Spartan. I recently had I was able to get our assistant position elevated to full-time, and I am very excited to see how Derek and I can make our operation even better. To all the students who have worked for me, I hope you continue to pursue your dreams and know that I've enjoyed having each and every one of you as a part of our operation. To my conference colleagues in the Capital Athletic Conference and now the MAC, I have enjoyed our time together. I enjoyed being in the CAC for 25 years and getting to work with so many outstanding people. And now, as I've moved to a new league, I've enjoyed being a part of a new group in the MAC. This industry is blessed with so many uniquely talented professionals, and these two leagues are shining examples of that. I would like to wrap up and say the thanks for the people who are the most special in my life, my family. My dad recently passed away in December of 2020. It's been a tough time for my family. It's been a tough time for me. He was a man who was quick to help others. He was a man who loved his family and provided a fantastic role model for me and my brother Mark. He was the one who instilled my work ethic and gave me a direction when I was young. He probably would look down and laugh at this now because I was not the most industrious, hardworking young man, but he whipped me into shape pretty good. To my mother, who's been the rock star my entire life, she's such a strong person who has helped guide me my entire life. She was the one who provided our moral compass and empathy for others. She is an example of how she lives her life is something I continually to strive for. To my kids, Carly and Shane, I am thankful that you both turned out like you have. You both have extremely bright futures. I encourage you to follow your passions and do what makes you happy in life. Always find something that gets you out of bed in the morning, excited to start your day. To my wife, Jill, I'm not really sure where to begin with this one. Your love and unconditional support is something I cannot begin to thank you for. To have a partner in crime that understands the job is special. It's not easy to have two people working in athletic communications, and especially it's an occupation that is demanding and time-consuming. However, we've found a way to make it work. Not only do we make it work, but I think we've thrived on it. It can be tough sometimes. It's almost like we joke two ships passing in the night, but we have found a way to always make time for each other. It's also good to know that I am the second best SID in my own house. Jill, I love you, and I thank you for all that you do for our family. As I close, I want to ask one thing of each of you. Be a little kinder to each other. We are in a very demanding industry. We can't always be on our A game. Some days are challenging. Some days we can't provide our colleagues with perfection, even though we strive to do that. Be understanding and know that everyone is trying their best. Cut some others some slack. We need to have each other's back. Bark a little less, love a little bit more. Thank you to EAST-COMM. It's been an honor, and I can't possibly thank you enough. God bless. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Congratulations to Scott, and thanks for all of your contributions to EAST-COMM. To introduce our second Marshall Award winner, please welcome David O'Brien, Associate Director of Athletic Communications at Binghamton University.
Hello, everybody. My name is David O'Brien. I'm the Associate Sports Information Director here at Binghamton University. It's my great privilege and honor to introduce my boss, my colleague, and my friend John Hartrick for one of this year's EAST-COMM's Irving T. Marsh Awards. John came to Binghamton in 1991. He's been here for 30 years. He hired me in 2000, so I've been here for 21 years. And I've had the best seat in the house for one of the most remarkable sports information careers that there's been. When John came here in 1991, the SID profession was a completely different place. The internet was in its infancy. There was no streaming video. There was no social media. All of these things have evolved over a very changing 30 years in our industry. But John has continued to flourish and thrive as the head of the office with all the changes. But it's not just the changing industry. When John came here in 1991, Binghamton was a Division III school. They were Division II in 1998 and Division I in 2001. And through all the changes in division levels, John has continued to succeed, flourish, and thrive as a sports information director. So when you think about it, it's not just that John has been here for 30 years. It's that John has overseen and grown and developed a sports information office that's changed through the years in its division levels and its technology. He's had a unique career, In other words, John's career here has been anything but status quo. But it's not just what John has done professionally, it's who he is as a person. When I first got here, so many people came up to me and told me how much they thought of John, how lucky I was to have him as a boss. 21 years later, I can't disagree with the second sentiment. When I wrote John's article upon his 25th year in COSIDA, I asked for quotes from other people. They were overflowing so much that I had my toughest job editing down the article to the appropriate number of words I was asked to give. People thought that much of John. And during these past several weeks after John got the Irving T. Marsh Award, so many people within the profession, so many former assistants, coaches, administrators, all sent their congratulations to him. But more than that, John is a devoted family man, and family is so important in our profession. When John picked me up for my interview in April 2000, his car was filled with infant toys. John's youngest son had just been born. John had 3 boys he loved very much. He loved his family very much. In 2004, John came to my wedding, which I was honored with. I immediately became a stepdad to 3 kids. And don't think for one moment that I hadn't observed John and how he interacted with his kids over the past 4 years. Family and SID profession don't always go hand in hand, but John has made it work through all these years. We hear a lot about change in our profession. We need to change with the times. But we need consistent people. We need people who transcend time. We need people like John Hartrick, who've been able to work in all 3 division levels, overseen an office that's gone through changes in technology, but at the same time is still a better person than he is an SID professional. So that note, John, on behalf of, I think, everybody who's worked for you, congratulations. We couldn't think of a more deserving recipient for this year's award. So to the EAST-COMM audience listening, it's my great privilege and honor to introduce my friend, my colleague, and my boss, John Hartrick, for this year's Irving T. Marsh Award.
Thanks, David, for what I can only hope were kind words. You see, I know David planned to write 2 different introductions, one glowing one for this audience, and another perhaps more candid and colorful one for our office only. And if he made a mistake and submitted the wrong one, EAST-COMM may be rescinding this honor tonight. David is one of the reasons I've been able to survive in this profession for 30 years, and having worked alongside him since 2000, I can honestly say there's no better, more loyal SID in this business. I fully expect that we will trade places when it's David's turn to be recognized. I want to thank the EAST-COMM Board and Selection Committee, and for those who have been so thoughtful and kind to support my nomination for the Irving T. Marsh Award. I'm so appreciative and honored to be selected to join an incredible list of past recipients. And congratulations also to the 2020 and 21 award winners, some amazing people who continue to lift our profession. I imagine there are some who needed to Google Binghamton to figure out where it is and who I am. We both tend to fly under the radar a bit. But if you will oblige, I'd like to take a moment and share some of my background. I grew up in Buffalo and was an avid Bills and Sabres fan, and then I added to my misery by also rooting for the Baltimore Orioles. As I think back, all of this seemed to prepare me perfectly for SID work at Binghamton, where NCAA championships and All-Americans are few and far between. My dad served 36 years at Buffalo State College, 22 as the men's soccer coach, 6 as the SID, and the final 11 as director of athletics. And his work with ECAC goes way back. My sisters and I spent a lot of time at Buff State, and in my teenage years I got to keep stats and learn from watching well-respected coaches, staff, and administrators, many of whom, like my dad, dedicated their professional lives to just one school. I certainly didn't set out to duplicate his longevity at my one school, but now 36 years is rapidly approaching, and I feel very proud of that connection to my father, who was my first mentor and who has inspired and supported me so much throughout my life. I played college soccer at Cortland, and as my good friend Fran Aaliyah reminds me, my 4 years happened to coincide with the worst 4 years in Cortland soccer history. But while I was there, I met and worked for one of the greatest, Pete Carisno. Pete was the first of 3 Petes who I was fortunate enough to learn from. Pete Carisno was and is one of a kind. He was such a brilliant professional with impeccable writing and editing skills and an unmatched memory. I annoyed him for sure in the office, but he let me hang around and soak up his expertise, and for that I'm so thankful. After Cortland, I headed to East Stroudsburg for graduate school and landed in the lap of another legend, Pete Nevins. My first visit to Pete's tiny and overcrowded office in the Kaler Fieldhouse was something I will never forget. He simultaneously spoke to me, a continuous stream of visitors at the door, plus a few phone callers, and all the while was looking above his glasses and continuing to bang out a story on his keyboard. I was one of Pete's first GAs, and while it was challenging to convince him to delegate anything to me, I learned so much from him, and also from watching so many of the great PSAC SIDs at that time, from Steve McCloskey to Jim Hollister to John Alosi and Greg Wright. They were all larger than life to me and performed their jobs to perfection, and most noticeably without fanfare. In the summer of 1991, the Binghamton job came open, and thanks to the influence of both Petes, I was offered my first and only full-time job. I'm forever grateful to Joel Thierer, Binghamton's incredible Hall of Fame athletic director, for not only taking a chance on a 25-year-old with limited experience, but for supporting and inspiring me for nearly 20 years. It was Joel's vision for success at Binghamton and his loyalty and support that kept many of us in the same place, while other colleagues were moving around every few years to better their environments. Binghamton became home, and I never had reason to leave. I started at Binghamton and quickly met a group of wonderful colleagues around the SUNYAC conference. Fran was taking over for Pete at Cortland, and Mike Andriach was blazing his path at Brockport. The 1990s was a great time to be in the profession, and I loved every minute of being part of the SUNYAC, which was and is still filled with great people. And outside of the SUNYAC, I didn't have to look far to see mentors who were among the best. Enter Pete number 3. Just up the road at Ithaca, Pete Moore was the perfect model to emulate. A leader and Hall of Fame member whose national recognition is only surpassed by his generosity and humanity. Throughout New York State, in fact, there were so many seasoned veterans to learn from. I could drive 2 hours in any direction and run into a Hall of Famer. I mean, the state was filled with incredible SIDs who also were kind, high-quality people. 8 years into my time at Binghamton, just when my teams were beginning to close the gap and become competitive with those upstate New York powers, we decided to make the move to Division I, and it was back to relative obscurity. But again, there was no loss of great people to learn from. Bob Cornell, Sue Edson, Jeremy Hardigan, and within the America East Conference, Lisa Champagne set the standard. We've certainly had some interesting stories to tell at Binghamton, and I've had a collection of wonderful assistants and hundreds of interns who have helped tell those stories, many of whom never had any future plans in our business, but contributed so much nonetheless. Being surrounded by young and talented assistants has also kept me motivated and happy to come to work every day. I'm proud of our work at Binghamton, and while the championships don't come along every year, the talented and multi-dimensional student athletes do. And some of my most rewarding work is getting to know them and share their stories, both as undergraduates and then alumni. Finally, I'd like to thank my incredible wife, Jeanette, and our 6 children for all their love and understanding. As we all know, this profession can drain you and take you away from family. Jeanette tolerates my absences on nights and weekends, even when I'm in the house, for 9 months of the year. Being a non-sports fan, she also keeps my fan obsessions in check and reminds me that my job and sports in general should not consume me. History might tell her otherwise, but we both keep trying. She fights for us and for our time together, and for that I will forever be grateful and so lucky. My 3 boys spent much of their childhood in and around Binghamton athletics just the same way I had done decades earlier at Buffalo State, and I find that repeated pattern to be so poetic, and hopefully they do as well. Now in our blended family, we have 6 grown-up children doing their own creative and successful things. And because we are that crazy, we've added 5 high-maintenance but lovable dogs that we spoil rotten. Seeing 5 tails wag when I come home at night is such an easy way to put the workday behind me. We should all embrace those little joys in life. To close out here, I'd like to thank EAST-COMM for this unexpected and incredible honor. I will cherish it forever, and I hope to see many of you in person in the near future as we turn the corner on COVID. Enjoy your summers and stay happy and healthy. Thanks again.
Congratulations to John on this award and finishing up your 30th year at Binghamton. Our final award this evening is the Pete Nevins Award for Distinguished Achievement. This honor, named after the late Pete Nevins from East Stroudsburg, is presented at the discretion of the Nevins Awards Committee to a candidate that has served at least 25 years in the profession and has made significant contributions to intercollegiate athletics. The Nevins Committee is chaired by COSIDA Hall of Famer Steve McCloskey and is made up only of the former Nevins Award winners. Here to introduce this year's honoree, please welcome the 2016 Nevins Award, 2010 Kenworthy Award, and 2003 Marsh Award winner, Steve McCloskey from Mansfield University.
It's a great honor for me to be here with you today to present the 2021 Pete Nevins Award winner. Each and every award that EAST-COMM CIDA presents is a special award to the recipient. A great day, a great honor, and deservedly so. But to the 14 people who have been the recipients of the Pete Nevins Award, today is truly a special day. Each and every one of us had a personal connection with Pete Nevins. We knew Pete. We respected Pete. We wanted to earn Pete's respect. Because Pete had elevated our profession, had defined professionalism, had demanded excellence, and had always honored the profession while cherishing the people who worked in it. Pete Nevins was truly one of the very, very special people in my life and the lives of so many others. All those attributes that Pete Nevins had, the degree of professionalism, the adherence to standards, the desire to present ourselves as more than we believed we were, and that we were professional and we in our profession deserved respect and honor for the unbelievable commitment we need to others. Today's recipient, Pete Moore, is a spitting image of Pete Nevins. Now, Pete Moore may not think he looks that good, but they are truly cut from the same cloth. Pete Moore has defined what our profession is, enhanced our profession, and respected the people who work in this profession for the 40 years he has been in the profession. He is exemplary at what he has done. Ever since he joined our profession, Pete Moore has been an advocate for advancing the profession, enhancing the profession, and earning respect for us in the world of athletics. One of the greatest compliments that you could ever get from Pete Nevins was, "You're very good. You did a great job. You did something special." Pete didn't give out compliments very often. So when you got one, you know you did a damn great job. Pete Nevins, on many occasions in our conversations on driving to and back from the ECAC CIDA workshops, would speak about Pete Moore. And when he spoke about Pete Moore, he always paraphrased it. The first part of his speech was, "Oh, that Pete Moore, he's very good. He is very, very good." So Pete Moore, you are such a good SID, a great person, and have done such extraordinary things for us, our image, and our profession. Your your demand for professionalism and doing the job right has elevated our stature. We are so very, very pleased to welcome you into this elite fraternity of Pete Nevins winners. Congratulations, my friend. An honor well deserved.
Hi, gang. I want to start off by congratulating the others that are being awarded tonight, and that's Connor and Steve, Chris, Greg, Scott, and my longtime pal, John Hartrick. I also want to thank Steve McCluskey for that nice introduction. Steve's one of the kindest, most genuine, and decent people I have ever met. And he called me to notify that I was winning this fabulous award, and it couldn't have come from a person more meaningful to me than Steve. Steve was my vice president when I was president of ECAC CIDA, and we were a good team, and I'm forever grateful for his friendship and also for the support he's given me all these years. The Pete Nevins Award is really cool for me. And it's all about the name on the award. Pete was a one-of-a-kind guy. I was lucky enough when I worked at Ithaca to work with Pete, to have a number of really good phone conversations, and also to meet up with him at the ECAC SIDA conventions and chat. And like I said, he was one of a kind, and his name being on the award is all we need to know about how important this award is. I want to thank the EAST-COMM board and another pal of mine, the president, Chuck Sadowski. EAST-COMM, and before that, ECAC SIDA, was such a very important part of my career. When I first got to Ithaca in 1986 and I became a member right away, it really gave me a spot to congregate with friends and colleagues who had equal challenges and issues that we could chat about. It was such a friendly family setting at those workshops. And as I said, it just meant so much to the start of my career, and it continues to this day. If I was to pass on just a tidbit of advice to those of you who are watching, it would be to get involved, and you'll get so much out of this group if you do get involved, and I encourage you to do so. So once again, I want to thank the board and everyone who was responsible for this award, and I will cherish it. Thank you.
Congratulations to Pete on a well-deserved honor, and thanks to Steve for that great introduction. That concludes our 2021 EAST-COMM Awards presentation. We hope you'll join us at 8:30 p.m. this evening for a virtual reception to honor our award winners. Visit eastcomm.com for more information. Stay tuned to the web over the next year as we make plans to come back together in person for the 2022 annual workshop. We truly can't wait. Thanks again for tuning in this evening, and one final congratulations to our 2021 EAST-COMM Awards winners.